coaches at the podiums. We'll go questions in the room first, and then we'll go to the phone line. So go ahead and get us started, Theo.
This might be a better question for Coach Brock, but how did you guys kind of stumble on Blake? Were you guys kind of out looking for a kicker, or did he reach out to you guys when he was looking to transfer from Arkansas?
That's a way better question for Coach Brock. Yeah, all the above. I am aware of that much. You know, he was looking around. We needed a kicker, and you know, we wanted to get as many legs in there as we could to try it out and see where, you know, everything ended up, and so we were happy to get him on board.
When did it really seem like he kind of finally won the job? Because Crane had kicked so well in the spring, and then maybe dropped off a little bit in the fall. And did Blake overtake him at some point?
Well, they fought it out in camp, you know. The other fellows got a stronger leg, but they fought it out in camp, and you know, Crane's got a stronger leg, so I don't know. He's more accurate, and gets it off quicker, and so anyways, that was a big one. It was further out than I wanted it to be. I wanted to score, but
after those 2 blocks a few weeks ago, did you make any personnel changes?
Well, we got a little better inside. So what, you know, we've had 3 deals. One is one they just outright blocked it. One we didn't get up. He didn't get up. One we dropped the snap, and once we got beat inside. So
with Blake and Oscar both kind of performing so well, both guys from Texas performing well, do you go back to Texas for punters and kickers in the future?
You know, maybe. You know, those guys are all over. That's the funny thing about kickers and punters. And then if they do real well, that's kind of their life in the NFL too. I mean, they kind of go to one tryout after the next till they find a spot. But no, I thought we did do really, you know, it did work out really well, finding those guys, you know, and we needed some reinforcements. We needed help after Powell, and so, you know, we're still a work in progress. We're not there, but we're getting better, you know.
After a lot of these games, the guys have been kind of talking about belief and having faith in the team. Are you seeing their confidence grow as they continue to kind of stack wins on wins?
I thought we were confident to begin with. Maybe gaining confidence. The biggest thing, I think, is as we work together more and more as a team, maybe a little more synchronized at times. Also, more kind of respect for one another and what the other guy's doing, because we were kind of a young group and a lot of people weren't as familiar with each other. And then, I guess the quick way to say would be good team unity, I think, is built, and you know, we got a group that works together pretty well, and confidence, I think, is probably a part of that.
Is it success that's kind of helped build team unity, or is it something else that you've seen that's...
Yeah, well, success definitely helps, no question, but I also think spending time with one another.
I think you also called this group maybe the most coachable team you've had here. What sticks out about them in that respect? Is it just the fact that you're not having to reteach the same lessons twice?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, and I mean at every team, because under the best of circumstances, football's difficult, and everybody after a week or two is playing with a certain amount of pain, which they do until the end of the season. And you know, you tell this team something, and typically you can get results that are sustained ones. You know, you don't have to constantly redo it. So it's allowed us to, even though we're young, to do some things maybe schematically and subtle things that we wouldn't have been able to do just because we'd have to constantly reinforce it. But then the other thing is I think we're also getting better as a team, because you know we've got a good group that does respond to coaching, and they'll make the improvements asked, so then you can begin working on something else. Like one thing that Ken Wilson says all the time that I think is pretty good is he'll tell them something, then he'll say, make me coach something else other than that, than what I just told you. Why do I keep telling you that? Make me coach something else, you know? So, yeah, they're doing a good job making us coach something else.
You mentioned players playing with pain, but you guys haven't had too many season-ending injuries this year. Just how rare is it to have a team be this relatively healthy this far into the season?
I don't know. I've had it go both ways. You know, we were starting to get banged up last year at this time. I don't know. You just keep pounding away. You know. Yeah. I don't know. It's probably somewhere in the middle.
How much do you think that staying healthy has contributed to your guys' success?
Well, that's always important. That's always important. And then, you know, also I think the off-season nutritional contributes in some way to that as well.
Did you guys change anything in the off-season that you think is impacting the health during this season?
We practiced really hard. We practiced really hard, had a lot of change of direction, worked in the sand some, so from my experience where the sand work helps all the joint sprained ankle stuff, so I don't know, you know, I mean, who knows?
Sort of mentioned after Stanford, you're discontent with the current playoff system. Can you think of any argument to defend a 14 playoff?
The 14 one?
Yeah.
No, none that are good. I mean, my favorite one is we can't do it because of academics. That's the lamest one of all. They said, you know, that one, and they love to fall on that because then there's no defense. Well, they care about academics and I don't, so therefore all our GPAs are higher than most schools. And then, no, that because it'd be too difficult on the players for their academics. That's the lamest reason of all. And the reason it's the lamest reason of all is because if you think about what playoffs are, a lot of it would take place when guys are out of school anyway. And yes, there would have to be, you know, some accommodation to maybe the dates of certain finals or something like that. But football is the least intrusive on an academic schedule of any sport. I mean, if that argument holds any water, then you need to get rid of every other sport except for football, which I don't think you should ever do under any circumstances. But football is the least intrusive of all. I mean, you know, you may have to get out of school on a Friday, go play on Saturday, then you're home bright and early ready to play on Monday, you know. So, no, that somehow it affects their academics in a way that they can't do it, more so than some other sport does just automatically. I mean, no, that's the most absurd one of all. Then you know that, you know, that somebody just wants it the way they want it, and they'll make up any reason just to see if it sticks. Then you know you're talking to somebody, you know, that just wants, I want my way just because, perhaps because I like the money distribution or whatever, and so it should be like this, because otherwise you're preying on their academics, and you know, and then of course then they put their hand over their heart, get sanctimonious, and we can't do this, which of course none of that's happening to begin with.
So do you think that there are people that are legitimately afraid of an expanded playoff format?
I think there's people that are afraid of change. Sometimes it's just as simple as the hassle of change. Sometimes it's as simple as, you know, just the ability to visualize it, you know, just the habit that, well, we've always done it this way. It's always been like this. It works out good, which college football does work out good. I mean, college football's great. You have great games, you have great bowl games, you have, you know, all these things combined. And, you know, of course, I would incorporate the bowls with any playoff system, which I think you could do in a really big fashion. You know, but just the vision of, well, I don't know how it would work, you know, well, I've never seen it done that way, you know. And all those things, I think, create a level of discomfort. And then also, I think that there's a certain amount of how the money will be distributed. You know, it's not so much, I mean, it's indisputable playoffs would make a lot more money, but, and I don't think anybody can argue that, but in the end, how it would be split up and control of it, I imagine is something that sticks back there a little bit.
Do you think current conference alignment, how it is, makes any sense if winning a conference doesn't automatically get you a bid to the playoff?
I've always thought conference champions should be in the playoff, no matter who they are, whoever's the conference champion is. And then, well, then there's no way to, you know, with just 4 to keep really, really good teams from being in it. And then, so then, you know, you can argue, well, the fairness, well, there's some really good teams that should be there. Well, obviously there is. Then you can argue just the, you know, this is fun and captivating for people to watch, fun and captivating for people to enjoy, fun and captivating for everybody to play and prepare for, and just a great experience from the players and coaches standpoints. So why wouldn't you tee it up and see how it unfolds, you know?
So will you be watching tomorrow night when they unveil the first college football playoff rankings then?
No, I will not. Well, somebody will text me, I'm sure. No, I won't. I'll read about it in the paper, so to speak.
Do you have any message to the committee as they kind of meet for the first time to kind of sort out the top 25 teams in the country? Because now, I mean, people are talking about you guys as maybe the only chance for the Pac-12 to make it to the 14 playoff.
I don't know. I'm just worried about beating Cal, you know. All we gotta do is worry about beating Cal. Best way to enhance any chances of any scenarios or any hypotheticals is beat Cal. So, you know, we'll just focus on playing Cal as well as we can.
Kind of piggybacking off of that, a lot of the same people that are talking about you guys as a fringe college football playoff team were the same people who weren't even projecting you guys to go to a bowl game this year. How does that kind of hit you when you see that happening, when you see those people that didn't think much of your team coming into the season?
You know, just the same thing. I mean, all we can control is this week is beat Cal, and if we do that, then, you know, we keep making progress, you know. So, yeah, no, you can't please everybody. So.
Mike, has Desmond taken a step the last couple of weeks, Patman?
Yeah, I think he has. I think he started taking steps a couple weeks before that, really. It was kind of funny because, you know, he had an okay camp, but it was just okay. And I actually took him off some plays because I thought, you know, other people were performing better. You know, you want to be the guy we put in on this play, you better be the best at it, you know. And then, so I actually replaced him on some. And, so then he was having an okay camp, and then, you know, the first week, then of course he starts elevating and gets to where he plays more physical, plays faster, and things like that, and which I think was really good, you know. But for his benefit, you know, honestly, you'd have more receptions and have been in on some more stuff if camp was better, because then you improve your skills and develop. But he has been playing impressive lately, I think, and I think he continues to improve. And I think that sometimes what he does physically, because he does have a unique strength to him, you know, I don't think it surprises anybody but him. You know, I think everybody looks and says, well, yeah, I mean, of course. And then the only guy surprised is Des, you know. So, but yeah.
How'd you guys kind of get that out of him finally? Because he had been pretty big and strong.
I yelled, you know, and do it again, and you know, compliments like, "What the hell's the matter with you?" You know, I mean, stuff like that. So, well, and then no, truthfully, I think that he's always, you know, enjoyed football, wanted to be good at it, and then of course, like I say, sometimes it's hard, but you know, the difficulty of it's part of the reward, and I think as he realizes that, then you know, he's gotten better and better, and then I think now he enjoys being a pretty physical guy.
Is that the most competitive Z position you've had here, or I guess in your career between Aesop and Des?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, and they kind of trade slots as far as who's got the upper hand. I would say that's definitely true.
Let's go to questions on the phone line for Coach. Any questions?
Hey, this is Justin McIntyre. Coach, can you just tell me what you're seeing from your offensive line, the step that they've taken forward this year?
Well, we had to get some, basically kind of a tryout, integrate some new faces into that unit. O-line's the most important position on every team, in my opinion. And then, of course, we did that. But I think as they as they get used to each other, they start to play better because O-line's a very synchronized position. And as they are in there beside one another, they play better and better. And I don't even think we've seen the best work out of our O-line yet, because I do think we're still improving. But I thought they had a good game last week, for the most part.
When Mason Miller comes in and just hits the ground running, what has he done to assist them in their cohesion?
Well, I coached Mason at Valdosta. So he already had a sense of what we wanted to accomplish on the offensive line. He's always been an offensive line coach, very devoted to the O-line, and that's kind of his deal is O-line. And so I think the dedication and focus and not being distracted with other things has been really benefited Mason as far as developing skills as a coach and being able to really do some good things with that unit and his knowledge base on it. And I think he's really good at generating that to the players in a specific, simple fashion. And then, as I say, we have a pretty coachable group, and the most important group to be coachable is the offensive line. And so I think as a result, we've made some improvements and can still improve because got a lot of upside because we're pretty young there.
Finally, Minshew has long said that there's no favorite target. You've got a different receiver almost every game leading the team in receptions. Is that something that you worked on, or is it his decision-making in the play?
It's his decision-making in the play. We don't work on it specifically. On any play, we want them to all be viable targets. And then, to hit them as they're open. But then the other thing is our hope is that if we spread it out among the players that, makes it difficult on the defense to select who to pay any special attention to, and then hopefully we can